My name is Bob Borcher from Old Town Mariposa on Highway 140 into the wild and scenic Merced River Canyon corridor and another canyon, what is it, Yosemite National Park? And I'm here today with a new old friend, Ron Loya. Ron, welcome to the Old Town Mariposa show.
Thank you, sir.
That's quite a costume you've got on there. You look like an old miner.
Yeah, I'm more a millman than a miner. Those were the highbrow miners.
Oh, highbrow miner.
The guy
Well,
that stayed above the ground.
Excellent, excellent. Ron, I've known you now for about a year, and we have a fraternal connection. Something to do with the Clampers.
Yeah,
Right?
it's called the Ancient and Honorable Order of E. Clampus Vitus.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And I have trouble with some of those concepts, but we'll get into that on another show.
Another show.
But the story about you in Mariposa, you live in Mid-Pines, is that correct?
I sure did.
And you're a historian. You've been involved with our historical organization. What is it? Mariposa Historical Society?
Nope, it's now the Mariposa Museum and History Center. It used to be the Historical Society.
Okay, but it's basically the same.
Basically the same thing, just went
But
through a
it's
name
just
change.
more organized.
Much more organized.
And, well, I think organized better than most community historical societies. We have one of the most sophisticated small museums, I think, in the country.
Well, in fact, it was declared by the Smithsonian Institute to be one of the best small museums west of the Mississippi.
All right. Well, how long have you been with the History Center Museum?
I've been since I first moved up here, and that was a scant 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
And where did you come from?
Came from Southern California.
And what brought you to Mariposa?
Believe it or not, I have a lot of history with the Clampers up here. We came up each year to come to the Grand Council, and I brought my wife with me, and we determined that we were going to raise our child in Central California foothills rather than Southern California. That's why we're here.
Well, and you're an author?
Yeah.
You've written several books?
Well, I've written one book, the Visitor's Guide to the History of Mid-Pines, and I'm working on some other publications. I do a certain amount of writing for the Historical Center in our newsletter, and I have one lifer book, one book that I've been working on for years on the history.
Book?
Well, it's a book that's going to take my lifetime to finish.
Well, sounds like quite a project.
Yeah.
Maybe we could take a little tour of the History Center.
Very good.
You want to tell me a little bit about it? You know, we've done a walkthrough, and I think we're working on a video to kind of explain how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a few pictures to kind of show how we lead into this exhibit. But maybe you could explain a little bit about how people come to our wonderful small museum.
Well, you know, we're at right next to the rest stop, so a lot of buses come in. We have a great tourism bureau that directs people to us, and when the first thing they do when they get off of the bus or out of their car, the first thing they see are the artifacts of the gold rush surrounding the museum. That draws them in. We have a monument just outside of the front door that explains some of the history of the artifacts that we have around the museum and the history of the museum itself.
Is that a Clamper monument?
That is a Clamper monument, one of the many around Mariposa.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have volunteer docents?
We have volunteer docents and volunteer gardeners, researchers. They run the gamut. We have a very dedicated crew of people.
So this is all a community project?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
And,
is.
You know, I have to tell you that this is unlike any museum that I've ever been in. When you go into our history center, you actually are looking at windows into the time and the life, and it leaves you with the feeling of what it was like to be here in 1850, 1860, and
right,
be a...
right. What the community did is they wanted to They wanted to make it look like a window into the past, and literally it is that. As you come into the museum, you're seeing, it seems as if you're walking down the streets of Old Town Mariposa, and each one of the exhibits represents one of the businesses that used to be here, or a homestead, or a miner's cabin, and all these exhibits are populated with items that the community has donated. So they're things that are pertinent to the history of Mariposa.
As you enter into the center itself, one of the things that's most impressive is that you're walking into a store, an circa 1850 store.
That's the old Gagliardo store out of Hornitos, and that is the original storefront, complete with items that were in that storefront during the 1800s. We have boxes of original stock, so it's a true time capsule into the merchants of the 1800s.
And once you get to walk around and get oriented into the life and times of the 1850s, 1860s, and experience the culture of our community, then you get to walk outside and see what it was really like.
Yeah. Outside we have the story of mining in Mariposa represented in artifacts, starting from the earliest days of placer mining to the first milling machines, which were the arrastras, and we do have a
You want to talk to us a little bit about what is an arrastra?
An arrastra is South American and Mexican device. It's a simple machine that was made, consisted of drag stones and a pivot, and beasts of burden would drag these stones around in a circle and grind down the ore that the miners.
And the ore was quartz and gold?
Gold-bearing quartz, yeah. Anything that looked like it had something worthwhile to get out of it, and this is how they rendered it down to free the gold.
And the story of mining in Mariposa, and actually the whole Mother Lode region, is the gold was first discovered in the placer deposits. That was
Right.
what Marshall found in Sutter's Mill in 1848. And
that was gold that was at one time trapped in the quartz itself, and over millions of years had been ground down, eroded down, and liberated from the quartz. And so that offered Marshall the opportunity to pick that nugget up and declare Eureka.
and here we are today.
And here we are today.
You might say the state of California was built on gold.
Well, the state of California, and in fact the whole United States, those profits went back to Washington, D.C. as well.
I heard stories about boatloads of gold being shipped out of California to support our national government.
That's right.
And when you're talking about boatloads of gold, we're talking about gold that was worth $17 an ounce.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah. So a big boatload of gold wasn't really that much money in today's dollars compared to what it is now.
Right.
And of course, we still mark these mines based on the production history that was current at gold at the price of $17 to $20 an ounce.
That's right. So when you figure what gold is worth today, it's an astronomical amount that they were, in today's value, that they were pulling out of those mines.
They're still pulling gold out of these creeks.
There's still more gold in the ground that was ever taken out.
That's not just a theory. That's a pretty well known fact. The issue is, and we still have, I worked here as a planner for many years, and going through the mining permit process. We still have fairly sizable ore deposits, but that's something we probably ought to take up under another show. You have something to talk to me about? We have something coming up with your docents, right?
In May, we have a docents fair. And
fair.
it has two purposes. One is to reintroduce the docents that we have working for us to what's going on in the museum. A lot of times they're doing their part in their part of the museum, and they don't see what happens in these tours in the other parts of the museum. So we want to take them around and treat them as if they were a visitor. And while at the same time we want to call potential docents in and and just bring the community in as a whole. Anybody that's interested in the history of Mariposa, we want to show them what goes on at the museum and history center, and give them the opportunity, if they wish, to help us out. They can learn some of the history, and we can get community involvement back in the museum.
Excellent, excellent. And that's when?
That's May 23rd,
May
2015.
23rd. We'll have to talk about this again soon. Also, we can buy books and materials at the Middle Museum.
We've got a great bookshop and gift shop at the museum.
Excellent.
And so if anybody's doing any shopping for Christmas, come on by the museum. We're not going to charge you to come into the museum if you're doing shopping.
One of the things that I hope to accomplish with this show is to demonstrate that we are one heck of a destination for people in the valley. We've got some foggy days coming up, and getting up to the sunshine in Mariposa is a traditional escape for folks up in the valley. But there's more to do up here than just getting bask in our sunshine. We have the History Center. We have the Mining and Mineral Museum.
Correct.
We have the incredible Merced River Canyon, Wild and Scenic River Canyon.
Right.
And then there's that place up the road that is a park, Yosemite?
Yeah, the land of big rocks.
Yeah, the land of big rocks. At any rate, we'll talk a little bit about that maybe another time.
Very good.
Right now, I just want to thank you, Ron, for being on the show.
You're welcome.
And for those people out there, welcome to the Old Town Mariposa show, and I'll see you next time.
And we have a lot of art, antique, collectibles, gifts.
Great. How do I look? Purses, handmade jewelry. We have a vintage train.
Come on up, enjoy our special brews. We've done about 27 different beers in the 2 years that we've been open.
And I have over 1,001 gifts, something for everyone. All kinds of stocking stuffers and wonderful gifts for your family and friends.
Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
There's elegance here, there's fun. And it's just a great place.
Shop Old Town Mariposa for a unique, authentic Christmas shopping experience.
Welcome to the Gold Coin. You have a seat wherever you like.
Dirty and just will never forget where I'm from and who I am. The red winged birds is my goodbye song. Knows I'm leaving this time this year. Pack my bags and memories. This time think I'm headed east. Find somewhere to win my day.
This is a real U.S. dollar, a gold coin. And it's yours if you can answer one simple question for me.